Welcome, dear sisKMR user. I'd like to invite you to join me to the presentation of the new Graphic User Interface of sisKMR version 30. Let's begin with the new graphic interface in a general view. The new graphic interface with a logic structure. What does logic structure mean? This means that we have functions and groups with a certain purpose. Beginning with a new quick function bar on the top of the box, you see here new buttons for different functions. And these functions are grouped in 4 different groups, beginning with project. That means all the functions what are necessary to handle projects, starting from new project and project settings. Second is modeling the sections and so on. Then we have a group of graphic functions, navigation and adjustment. And finally, here on the right, everything concerned with result, with calculation and analysis. On the left, we have here some old friends, just a little bit different sorted. So we have attributes of sections on below and attributes of points, the group here on top. In the center of the window, we're finding the graphic window of the geometric model. This has not changed much. And finally, we have drop-down list here with 4 main groups. First, I want to talk a little bit about the project handling. Most of the functions of project management are the same here as in the previous version. The only difference that we have is a project setting unique dialog. The difference appears here when we click, for example, on a new project. I just do this here, and you see now it opens a box of project with project definition, project setting, and calculation. So we have a look at it one after one. First, the definition. What project do we want to create? We can select from the standard systems, a drop-down list here with all the standard systems that we already know, or we can select a common system. Common system, all the same as we know from previous version. Let's remain first with a standard system, L system. Below here we have project information, also the same as we remember from the previous version. So we can skip to the settings. The settings, this is really brand new. We can here distinguish stress analysis for underground. If we had selected also a common system, we had the option for selecting above ground lines. Below here, we have as a couple of analysis settings. That means all the tasks of the project, what sisKMR shall do with the calculation, and these functions that have been spread all over the different dialogues in previous versions are here now complete in one group. So the task about calculating whether to calculate hoop stress, poor form stresses, utilization of expansion cushions, and axial stress limit, and if PE casing temperature calculation. On the right, we have general settings that are valid for the entire project, not individual for sections. And the third dialog here included is a standard iteration settings, as you remember, also from previous version, and the optimization of settings. So we confirm with OK, and not much has changed. We have a new project now and could now start with the attributes of the L system, of the standard system. We can achieve this when we click once on the button of attributes, but this is the next chapter. First, I want to click here on the project settings and calculation options in order to reopen this box that we had previously again, and go now to definition, saying, well, we want a common system here. Clicking OK. And now it changes insofar that we have in the graphic window one single section, the standard what we had in the previous version as well. Thank you so far. The next point is I want to show you how to handle and to operate with standard systems. When we click on a new project and select any of the standard systems, let's go to the T branch, for example. No other setting, okay. And now we want to know how do we get our pipe model. So we go on the button here of attributes, and this opens a dialog that contains completely all the informations that are required to define and to make a complete model of the T branch system. On the left, you see here we have a group of pipe data, we have a layout information and bedding. So this on the left side here is all the same for either standard systems. The right part here changes depending on the selected standard system. When we look at it here, you can see we have here information about L1 distance to NFP, L2 distance to FSE, branch length, and so on. All the figures and the data that we previously already had in the program, but new arranged. The branch pipe is the definition here. And finally, we have here a button about the T fitting, so we can define the T fitting. What type is it? Welded on, reinforced, extruded, and all the stuff we already know. Now, just especially in the beginning, you will not know which length or which geometric information is what. And you can click on the image here on the lower right box to magnify the content, and you can clearly see and understand now which length is what. And we can close it again, and then we make our definitions. And as soon as everything is ready, you just click on OK, and the program will immediately start with a calculation and give the result with error report or not, however. Okay, thank you. So the common system. I like to show you some information about beam elements and their objects of beam elements. What you see here is on the left side is a reality of what we are going to build. And on the right side is a beam element model, how it appears in sisKMR. And you can easily understand and see that we distinguish here between lines and points or nodes that connect all the sections. And so these points are objects and the sections are objects. To make it more clear, here you can see sections and points distinguishing. We have the model direction going from upper left to lower right. And you see we have the points here on the beginning of the line start. And we have a point here in the middle, what connects either of the two sections here, section 1 and section 2. And the sum of the sections makes a line. And on either beginning or end or node is a point. And as we distinguish between points and sections, also the attributes of these two objects are different. So you see here we have, as an example, point attributes at the beginning. We have, for example, natural fixed point or free system end. We have a point attributes as there are at the bend a radius or an angle or could be a cover height. And for the sections, we have the attributes of bedding like sand, expansion cushion, or supported pipework. We have the pipe attributes like diameter, wall thickness, thickness of insulation and the material, or we have operational informations like temperature or pressure. Now we want to see how the distinguishing between points and section appears in sisKMR. As mentioned, we have objects of points and sections, and so we have here the option of opening the attributes box or the point attributes box. In order to address an individual certain section, we can just double click in the graphic on it. And this opens immediately the new dialog of the sections. Let's have a look at this special new box. It contains all the information of sections, beginning with the geometric information, as we know it already, with the pipe properties, with the design properties, and with the bedding. So these are all the information that we can modify or can view. And whenever we change something here, we have to confirm it with OK, or we can also cancel if we don't want to take it over. Here we have 4 buttons to navigate within a line, so we can skip from one section to the next one. And we see here it is red highlighted, and we can go further. Or what we also can do is we can skip from a section to the previous point or to the next point. Let's address the previous point. And you see the dialog box here changes to the point, and with information of this point. It is a bend, and the bend radius is here listed, and the bend wall thickness, for example, and the cover height, because all these are point informations, as well as the horizontal angular deviation. The box that you see here seems as if it would be only one, but in reality, these are 2 above each other, and we can move it free on the screen here. The boxes are static, that means we cannot enlarge them or modify them in the way of the size. What we can do is we can modify the main window of sisKMR, so we can move the boxes here on top of this program. And again, we can skip from points to sections and so on. The point information, this is really interesting, change depending on the situation. So here is a node of a T, and you see the category is now TPs, and all the informations of the T are also listed here. T type, for example, prefabricated, and all the stuff we have from previous, we know from previous versions.